PTE replaced the older methods with automated ones and replacing the humans with intelligent systems. The first task that you'll see in your exam is PTE Read Aloud. It stands at a very critical juncture. It acts as a psychological and technical gateway. Consider yourself doing a bad attempts of PTE Read Aloud. It will certainly have an impact on the remaining test. Read Aloud establishes the initial acoustic profile that AI engine uses to calibrate its assessment of candidates' vocal characteristics. So the very first question is how the task will look like and appear on your screen and what you need to perform. A small prompt, typically up to 60 words, will appear on your screen. You will be given a brief period to prepare before you have to read it aloud. So if you're aiming for 79 to 90 scores, this requires a perfect execution of the read aloud. That will set the frequency of the remainder exam. In order to understand the task better, we'll first have to look into how AI hears a human being or how it evaluates a human speech. The PSN engine is a sophisticated trained neural network on a global corpus of speech data. Unlike human examiners, whom you might imagine have been influenced by subjective bias or fatigue, AI evaluates the speech based on objective acoustic correlates. To make sure that regional variations are not penalized, the system has been exposed to hundreds of different accents, but you'll have to make sure the speech remains intelligible to a regular speaker of the language. So let's talk about acoustic analysis factors. The PSS AI engine will focus mainly on three dimensions. Number one being the content, number two, oral fluency, and number three, pronunciation. So let's talk about the first pillar, content accuracy. So let's find out how content is evaluated and what can be detrimental when it comes to content. Content is simply evaluated by comparing the words spoken by the candidates and with those written on the text. The AI will look for omissions, insertions, and replacements. So what is an omission? So omissions are the words that will be skipped while reading. Insertions are simply the extra words that were not written in the text. And replacements are simply the words spoken instead of the given text. For example, it was written a and the speaker uttered the. Now we'll move towards the pillar 2, that is fluency. Let's know what a fluency is when it comes to PTE Read Aloud. Fluency is the measure of smoothness, rhythm, and phrasing of the delivery. So fluency is not merely a measure of speed, it's more than that. It is rather a measure of consistency in the airflow. Fluency can be divided into three components: rhythm and pace, phrasing or chunking, disfluencies. So let's talk about rhythm and pace. In terms of fluency, the AI will look for steady, stress-time rhythm typical of the English language. AI will also look for your ability to group words into meaningful and logical units. But you have to be very careful because AI will penalize hesitations, repetitions, and false starts. So let's talk about the pillar 3, that is known as pronunciation. Pronunciation includes three more components that are known as phonetic clarity, word, and sentence stress. So let's talk a little brief about each of these. Phonetic clarity includes each vowel and consonant is pronounced clearly. Word stress includes placing stress on the correct syllable. So what includes the sentence stress? It is placing the emphasis on the words that carry meaning. So let's assume a situation where a person was able to focus on all the three pillars that we discussed, but still wasn't able to manage scores. So there are furthermore things that we need to discuss. So let's talk about mastering the delivery. Achieving high scores require application of specific techniques that particularly aligns with how the AI processes the sound. These techniques include chunking, intonation, and effective use of punctuation. So what is chunking? Chunking is the process of dividing longer sentences into smaller and manageable pieces. This allows the speaker to breathe at natural breaks while allowing the AI to identify the structural components of the sentence. So what actually is chunking? Instead of reading one word at a time, identify the words that belong together grammatically. So here is an example how to actually do the chunking. Look at the sentence on the screen and see how I read it. The results of the study showed the significant increase in the consumption of renewable energy. So here is a tip. During the preparation time, mentally place the slashes between logical phrases. So let's talk about the technique 2 for mastering the delivery. That is punctuation as an acoustic guide. Punctuation is actually there to guide you. They serve as visual clues when to pause. Failing to stop at a comma or a full stops create a wall of sound that AI struggles to decode. At a comma, take a brief pause that is around 0.5 seconds. So take a pause of around 1 second when you see a full stop. And before the full stop, drop your pitch slightly so that AI can decode the end of a thought. So how to behave when you see a colon or a semicolon? Treat them as significant pause and pause around the same length as you did for a full stop. Now move on to the technique 3, that is intonation and emphasis. A monotone voice suggests that speaker is merely reciting the words without understanding the content. Natural English intonation involves rise and falls of the pitch. So when you are reading, you will come across the two type of words, component words and function words. Content words includes noun, main verbs and adjectives. And mind it, they must be emphasized. Function words including articles like the or the prepositions like of should be read a bit quickly and with less emphasis. So when to do a pitch variation? Raise your pitch at the beginning of the sentences or when listing items and lower it down when you are at a conclusion. Let's talk about the mistakes. After teaching so many students, I have come to a conclusion that anxiety is the biggest contributor when it comes to fluency errors. Knowing what not to do is as important as mastering the delivery techniques. During the exam, never ever correct yourself. So why it is important not to repeat? Consider yourself in an examination and unfortunately you repeated a word. AI would consider that as a repetition or a hesitation, causing a double penalty in your speaking score. So what to do if you have made a mistake in reading? Never stop, continue reading the next word without hesitation. Here is mistake number 3. That is speaking in a speedy way. Excessive speed only leads to swelling of consonants and word endings, leading to a bad score in pronunciations. So what is the right speed? You have to aim for a steady conversational speed that is around 140 to 160 words a minute. Here is another mistake that usually candidates make. That is mismanaging the preparation time. Those 35 seconds to prepare for your read aloud often go wasted. So many students would do only staring at the screen or reading the words silently. Use that time to your advantage. Read the given text if you can read it one time or even 2 times. Identify the difficult words, repeat them, practice them, and make sure you're only reading those words to a whisper level so that only you can hear it and you're not causing a disturbance for the students or the candidates sitting next to you. Now talk about a myth that is known as one-liner strategy. For me, it is a controversial method where a student would skip major part of the reading and would only read 8 to 10 words. It is completely against those rules against which the AI marks you. You might be able to score higher in fluency or pronunciation, but you would be scored very low when it comes to content. You might be able to score some reasonable numbers, but if you're aiming for 79 or above, I would highly not recommend it. Improvements in your read aloud is an act that requires consistent muscle memory training, and it's not something that can be done passively. You have to work hard for many days so that afterwards you'll see improvement in your read aloud task. You can focus on 2 to 3 main things for improving your read aloud question. You'll have to focus on some areas for the practice. It's a plan that you need to follow to improve. The first thing is phonetic accuracy. Practice the breakdown of academic vocabulary into syllables. The number two method to focus is rhythmic phrasing. Use slashes to mark pauses. Listen to your audios to identify the robotic or a human response. Record and listen for robotic and natural flow. Third and the most important would be exam simulation. Practice read aloud by making sure there are some distractions so that you can learn to focus on what needs to be delivered rather than everything going in the background. So let's conclude today's lecture. PTE Read Aloud is a test of confidence as well as the language. So what needs to be done? You would have to prioritize fluency over perfection. You will start using your preparation time wisely. Master the tone curve. Enunciate word endings. There are few things that you always need to keep them in mind. The first one is to prioritize fluency over perfection. A smooth recovery from a mistake is worth more than a perfect but hesitant reading. From now on, you will start using your preparation time wisely. Read the text during those 35 seconds to prepare yourself for a better delivery. You'll have to master the tone curve. Let your voice rise and fall rhythmically and naturally, and avoid the monotone trap. Enunciate the word endings. You'll have to make sure that S and ED are very clear to avoid contextual and pronunciation penalties. So it's all for today, but you'll have to promise me that you are going to watch my next video because it's going to be more important. We are going to discuss an online free tool that will help you improve your pronunciations. Along with that, I'll be doing some read aloud practices. And trust me, if you will simply shadow those read aloud practices, you'll see an improvement in just few days. Thanks for watching my video, and I would highly appreciate if you would simply subscribe to my channel and share this video to others who are preparing for a high score. Thank you so much.